the current moment, I'm still gonna say s1mple. I think ZywOo's had less time to prove himself on that level. So yeah, s1mple it still is.
ZywOo is the best player, 100%. I think s1mple is close by, but ZywOo, like he can up out anyone, and he can use the SG and AK as well.
Either ZywOo, either s1mple. Like probably s1mple still, but he didn't even win tournament, I guess, in 2019. I'm not for sure. But when you're not winning the tournament, these other players are getting your seat. So I think ZywOo won 3 or 4 tournaments in this year, and they can even win this one. So if they were not gonna play us in final, so I think either ZywOo, either s1mple. But I think ZywOo is one step forward than s1mple.
s1mple is the best player in the world. He's just really good at everything he does.
The best player in the world at the moment, I would have to say, especially in the very short term, ZywOo. I think there's 3 players that you could probably make an argument for this year, actually maybe even 4. Obviously, s1mple and ZywOo are up there, and then Device, and in my opinion, Elige has kind of proven that he's been amazing throughout this year. He's kind of starting, or the team is starting to drop off, but ZywOo surely, I think within the past 3 to 5 months, has been far and away the best player that we have, competing at this moment. And he's been unbelievable, and he's one of those oppers as well who can do it with the rifle. He can do it with an AK, he can do it with a Krieg, he can do it in the pistol rounds. He's a very well-rounded player for someone who's relatively inexperienced compared to the others.
To me, the best player in the world would be ZywOo, probably, because he's just insanely smart player as well as insanely talented. So it's a dangerous mix of everything, basically.
I would say ZywOo. ZywOo is playing at the top level. I don't think you can play better than him right now, so ZywOo for sure.
Right now it stands between s1mple and ZywOo. I haven't really made my mind in terms of who I think is the best right now. I think s1mple have shown last year that he was obviously the best, whereas for ZywOo this year I think he's been a little bit better, at least a little bit more consistent. He's had a few tournaments where he wasn't playing well, so as s1mple. So I think it's between the 2 of those, and if I had to pick one, I'd probably go with s1mple because he is the experienced one, but it's really, really close.
ZywOo or s1mple?
I'm actually gonna go with ZywOo here. Yeah.
Why is that?
I think he performs really well. He's a really stable. Not that s1mple isn't, but I think right now ZywOo might have a small edge.
Jesus Christ. I'm going to take s1mple just because we've seen the longevity of him being incredible. I think ZywOo over the past like 2 or 3 months from when this is recorded has been performing better, but I would take s1mple any day.
ZywOo.
Why is that?
I hate to play against him. It's the same there. Like, kind of know what he's doing, but I don't know. He's so smart as well. Like, both are really good players, but yeah, ZywOo.
ZywOo or s1mple?
ZywOo. I think ZywOo. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It's just so annoying to play against. Like whenever he gets into a position where he has afterplant and anywhere he is on any side, like it's always annoying. But s1mple is more annoying to play early in the round, but I think ZywOo has so much impact when he plays.
I had to pick s1mple.
s1mple is my boy. He follows me on Twitter, so I'd say s1mple. Yeah.
Tough one. Maybe ZywOo, because he has a lot of impact, but s1mple has it as well. But I think ZywOo is better at like playing around his team more. Like s1mple can go and do crazy stuff, but I think ZywOo works better with his team.
I'd go with ZywOo right now, I'd say. I think it's an incredible tough question to answer. I think s1mple is the all-time greatest Counter-Strike player we ever had. He really set the standard last year for how good you can be over a long period in terms of consistency and always delivering. He hasn't been bad this year, it just hasn't been the same, and especially the major wasn't really too good for him. Apparently he played with a different mouse, and that was part of the blame. So we'll see. He's back on his old mouse and he's doing fine. Whereas for ZywOo, I think it's incredibly impressive that he's doing so good in his rookie year, right? This is the first professional team he's on. He finished school half a year ago, and now he's all in on Counter-Strike, and he's doing wonders, right? He's one of the best players in the world, and you can't really neglect that. So I think ZywOo for now, also looking at the future, I think he can evolve to become even better than he is now, but it's an incredible hard question to answer, and if I could, I would have both.
ZywOo.
Why is that?
I just feel like he's more well-rounded. I feel like s1mple often kind of lets his teammates create space for him, but ZywOo creates his own space, and I think that's pretty impressive.
ZywOo.
Even though he's only been up there for a year, would you still say he's the best?
Yeah, I watch him play, and his game sense and his aim is just unreal. He's good with every weapon.
I would have said so, but it looks like that there's someone coming from from France, and he wants to kick him off. And at the moment, s1mple is the best, but ZywOo's form and understanding how he plays the game looks really scary for him. So I would say now, yeah, maybe s1mple is at least the best I played against. Also better than maybe Forest or Neo in 1.6. And if you're better than them in 1.6, it says enough. So he's really good, but also playing against ZywOo is also really scary. And it feels like kind of the same to playing against s1mple. So they're both really, really close to each other, and both are better than the rest I played.
Right now, s1mple. He's the best player right now, definitely, 100%. Like ZywOo, he kind of fell off a little bit after the break, and s1mple he's still owning.
s1mple's definitely a better individual player in terms of just like raw skill, I'd say. But who the better teammate is, I don't know. ZywOo could easily be a better teammate than s1mple, just from looking from the outside in, but I think s1mple is the better player for sure.
I think s1mple. I'm actually making a video on s1mple right now, and I'll basically show people why he hasn't had a negative rating on train since 2018. So I'll say that he's a god.
You know, I've played versus ZywOo a lot more, and that guy, his timings to peak like certain positions, not give his kill away. I think that s1mple could be a bit more reckless in that regard. I think ZywOo, 100%. That guy, he is a natural talent. 1 in a million.
I would say ZywOo is better. I think his aim is just the better it can get. So just watching him play, I think ZywOo has more impact on the game.
If you're going all time, you have to go at s1mple. But if you're talking about today or over the last 6 to 8 months, it's ZywOo. So it really just depends on what parameters you're using, but that's a tough one.
It's ZywOo for now, obvious, because he made a long way in this year, and he made the top 1. That's something impressive. I couldn't imagine how he could have done better.
I would say last year I would give like to ZywOo, but because s1mple was back to April, like he was rifling, so it has like less advantage. But let's see this year.
I think ZywOo was a little bit better than s1mple in this year. I think both teams didn't win as much as Astralis, for example, as Liquid, so it's quite hard to really take into account the trophies they lift. So only talking about individual performance, I think both are pretty close, but I would still go with ZywOo this year. I think he did a little bit better.
I think it's hard one to choose because they're very similar stats-wise. I think maybe ZywOo is a bit ahead.
s1mple or ZywOo?
This is a hard question. I think the skill ceiling that s1mple has is kind of unlimited. I think he can go as crazy as he can skill-wise, but if I take the team part of the team and how from the games I've seen B-side playing in Navi with s1mple or something like that, from just purely watching the game, I think ZywOo is better in overall rating for me. If I have to take all the factors of the game together, I think ZywOo is better. I mean, I've seen some moments in ZywOo that he helped his team not just by killing or winning the round, but some other moments. So I would say ZywOo, but it would be like 51 to 49. But if you take purely skill, it must be s1mple for sure. That's without doubt.
I think ZywOo is the better player right now because of what he does for the team. I think I have a hard time seeing s1mple, for example, giving up the AWP as ZywOo did on Inferno. And I can understand why s1mple wouldn't give up the AWP. If I was as good as him, I wouldn't give up the AWP either. But I think ZywOo is trying to do everything that's the best for the team, and for me, he's the better player because of that.
I have to say ZywOo. I think that this year he proved himself a lot, and by changing roles in a lot of maps, that's really hard to do for an AWPer, and he was very good at it. Like he was changing roles because of Nivera, and he was getting rifles a lot more, and he's just playing the same way, like God way. So ZywOo proved a lot this year.
I think I'm going to say and stand with s1mple. It's incredibly close. They have different assets and virtues, but I think s1mple is better purely because I feel he's had a level of consistency for a longer period of time. I also feel he does things that are so unorthodox. They're completely unthinkable. I watched a game just the other day at the time of recording this. He hides in vents and gets a double knife kill in a pistol round. This guy does things that no other player on the planet can do, and he's been doing that now for what feels like almost 3 years. So it's got to be s1mple for me at the moment.
Actually, Anders put out a great tweet a couple of days ago saying something along the lines of ZywOo is the ultimate test taker. Like all of his decisions are always like spot on, but s1mple is more of an artist. Like he comes up with answers that you didn't even know existed for the same test. But seeing as how I was a coach, I prefer ZywOo in that discussion because you can always count on him, and he is more reliable maybe than s1mple.
I would say overall ZywOo because of the hybrid, but I mean, yeah, I'm gonna go with ZywOo on that one, just for the recent tournaments there.
Question. I go for s1mple, but it's a tough call.
ZywOo because he's the best player in the world right now. s1mple for the raw skill and confident.
ZywOo, he's my teammate. He's so beautiful. He's nice. I love him.
ZywOo just for the fact that he bursted to the scene so fast.
s1mple because what he's doing in the server is just impossible for other players to do.
ZywOo.
ZywOo, the guy is just amazing.
ZywOo because